Okay, so we have done the ABC classification in the previous three videos you must have seen. Now we're going to use the ABC classification in defining the cycle counting setups. So let's start and start doing the cycle counting definition first. So we have to go to cycle counting. This is the navigation, create the new, and you define the new cycle count. So I'm going to define cycle counting test 1. Put the calendar here. This calendar will be used to know how many holidays are there in a year, whether a day is working or not. That will be decided by the calendar. Any posting that you will be doing after doing actual counting, this posting will go to a specific account. So I'm gonna specify an account in which the credit and debit balances can be found. This is the first tab, scope and control. This is just inactive one. This will be inactive. Late days. There's a report which gets the late days reports. If you don't count on a given day, and then let's say after one day it will be showing up in the late count report. I just leave this thing starting sequence blank. This will be updated by the system. If you want to specify a specific sub inventory for the counting, you can very well do that. This is automatic recount. If you want first count is done and you see a lot of difference between system and actual, you can actually system can automatically send it for recount. So how many times system will send the recount if there is a mismatch of count and physical and system count, you can specify that. Otherwise an approver can always send this for recount. So this is automatic, or manual recounts are always there. If you want to count any unscheduled entries, that's a very important flag, because many a times you don't want to follow the systematic counting, rather an intervention by the humans cause the system to start counting. So that time you have to do an unscheduled entries to be counted, so you can tick them and enter the manual cycle counting items, and then they will be also part of the cycle counting. Then we have serial LPN, and what if there is a serial controlled item, then how do you want to count? This is an important flag. Auto schedule, if you want a schedule to run, and this is like a weekly counting schedule. Suppose you want to run, say how you can schedule this by saying weekly, and then system will schedule every weekly counts. So every week you get the count request and you have to perform the counting. This is for the LPN. This approval is required if out of tolerance is always required or it's never. So you can set one of them. I'll set it to if out of tolerance. I want to specify, but otherwise you can give like 10%. What's the tolerance? So 10% plus minus you can give. So quantity variance, if it vary above 10, then you have to take the right decision. That means an approval needs to see and then approve. Similarly, you can do hit miss percentage, adjustment value wise. You can do that, and I can just leave this thing blank for now. Here is the ABC initialization. So I have to load items to the cycle count, and one of the quick and easy way to load is the cycle count group. So the one that I have created, I believe this is the one, cycle count group. So I'm gonna load this, and in order to load you have to say reinitialize. So I'm gonna do that. After doing it, I'm gonna save this. System will create a concurrent program, and the status of the concurrent program will update it here once the program is completed. So let's go ahead and verify whether the program is completed. So this is the first important program, initialize cycle count items. I'll just copy initialize cycle count items and just want to put this here. I don't think it will come. Initialize cycle count items. This is the first program, that cycle count item, that is running, and it's completed. So I'm going to refresh this now. Copy F11, Control V, Control F11. So you got the status updated. Once the status is updated, you can actually go ahead and put the counts per year. So how many times this items you want to count in a year. So you're gonna put some count. Let's say I'm going to weekly counting is frequency, so I'm going to count every day, every week. B item I want to count, let's say 30 times in a year, and this probably 20 times. Roughly, you can put that number. You can also put the approval variance at the class level. So you can put the variance approval variance at the header level, like cycle count level, and you can also do A, B, and C classes level as well. So if there's a variance above and below this, then system will look for approval. So I save this variance here. So this setup is complete. This tab is complete. Let's move on now. So we did the auto schedule, yes. So I have to run the scheduler program, and this called cycle counting scheduler. You have to run this is the second program that will schedule the cycle counting. So click OK. So concurrent request will run. Go ahead and check that request. This is the generate automatic scheduler request. So I'm going to write this program. Generate automatic schedule requests. Okay, this is the second program that is going to help us in performing the cycle count. So we're waiting. Okay, so the program is completed now. So we will refresh again. Control C, F11, Control V, Control F11. So the moment you do that, you see that the last date, 24th of November, this is today's date, and this is the next 30th of November. So if you see, you'll find that every Monday is because a weekly schedule, so 30th and then 7th and so on and so forth, the date will come. And the last piece is the third program, which is scope and control. You go there and run for the generate count request. This particular program will actually create the number of items to be counted, and this gets updated. So let's go ahead and run that program. Generate cycle count request. Run this and then view request. There's the third one, generate cycle count request. So let's go ahead and write this. Generate cycle count request. Alright, so these are the three programs that we have noted that helps in performing the cycle counting. So there's the last piece. After that, the setup would be complete. So let's validate whether this program is completed or not. Okay, so program got completed. I'll go ahead and refresh this one more time, and you got 244, and this gives me a sense that 244 items we need to count in this week itself. So where are those reports, or which item I need to count? In order to get the list of the items to be counted, we have to go ahead and generate those generate count request cycle counting listing report. Once we generate the cycle counting listing report, then we will see that what all items to be counted. So I go ahead and run this program. So go ahead and run this program now. There's the last one, cycle count listing. This is, anyway, it's required. We need to see generate cycle count listing report. That's the report that's gonna be generated by running that program. So we'll wait. Okay, it's done. Check the view output file, and we will know what all items to be counted. Okay, so the report is out. You can see CC test 1 cycle counting listing report, and these are the items that we have to count. This is sequence number 1, sequence number 2, and we scroll down, all these items are populated here. So let's read one of them. So WD5030, this is the product description. In this locator there is no lot. This is class B item. Due date is 25th, which is today's tomorrow's date. It's uncounted. Once I get this printed, I'll put a date and what's my initial, and then I enter the count quantity, and that's will done with the one item, and then move on to the second item. And similarly I have to complete the entire list of items as far as the cycle counting is concerned. So and this is sorted by sub inventory, so you don't need to jump around the warehouse. Rather, you go to one sub inventory bulk and perform all the counting from that sub inventory only, and then you move on to the second sub inventory. Right, it's also sorted by the locator further, so you get to see the close by items which are stored together for counting purpose. So this is the kind of setup part, and the next activity would be who will be doing the cycle counting, whether the task will be generated or not. Task will be sent to the individuals who are responsible for cycle counting. All of that is the actual performing the cycle count with the help of advanced task framework. So that will be the next video, that you will see how the cycle counting is performed using the mobile supply chain application and with the help of advanced task framework. So thank you for watching the cycle counting.